evening, everybody, and welcome to the Brevard Sports Network. Probably about 2 hours ago here, we broke the news that the Cocoa Beach Minutemen have hired a new head baseball coach, and it's not just any baseball coach. He is a Space Coast Hall of Famer. He had one of the most unbelievable high school, had an outstanding collegiate career, made it all the way to the show. We'll talk to him about that, but we want to talk to him about Cocoa Beach baseball first and foremost. Please welcome the new head coach of the Cocoa Beach Minutemen, Cocoa Beach legend Brian Johnson. And Coach, how are you?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on here. I appreciate it greatly, man. I'm really, really excited about everything going forward.
Coach, I got to tell you, when Coach Kimmey sent it over to me, I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is going to be it's going to be fun, man." Having you as the manager there. Now, look, it's basically, essentially, Coach Brendan's still staying, but you're just going to be the head coach, correct?
Yes, sir. We're just really flipping roles. That's it. And the main reason for that was, speaking with, Coach Kimmey and the principal, Mr. Powers, really wanted to emphasize having coaches on campus.
Right, and that makes perfect sense, Coach. He's done a terrific job, and I think it's a coup for Coach Kimmey and Principal Powers to be able to have both of you there. I really do. Coach, when I watch this program play, obviously you're young, but when I watch this program play, the one thing that always sticks out to me is this team never quits. It plays for all 7 innings, and this team is fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we want our identity to be. When we take the field, we're going to hustle. We're going to control the controllables. We're going to, play till the game's over with. We're going to run through the base with 2 outs, no outs. Doesn't matter the situation. Doesn't matter if we're down by 10 or up by 10. I want the game, and our coaching staff wants the game played a certain way. And, that's kind of the identity we want to have.
Now, I know that you lose a couple of key seniors in O'Connor and Barranco, but talk a little bit about the youth of this team, because Cocoa Beach, I've seen 8th graders play on that squad. How much of a benefit is it to a baseball program to be able to develop these student athletes from such a young age?
I mean, it's massive. You kind of get them when they're still at that awkward, almost should be in little league range, to where they're still growing, they're maturing. You kind of see the good and the bad. You get to see them in their awkward phase. So it's cool. I mean, our main group is really young. We got a couple rising juniors, going to be seniors, that are going to be very, very important to us. But like you said, when you get to coach those kids at such a young age, you kind of you got to have patience, and you got to understand, and that's one of the things when you play the game, you can't forget how hard this game is.
Oh my
and
goodness.
they're at that age, sometimes it's, I had a couple kids grow almost an inch during this, from the beginning of the school year to the baseball season.
Right.
So they're growing, their bodies are awkward, so you got to be patient and understand, but at the same time hold kids accountable.
Coach, you were a 5-year letterman, baseball letterman at Cocoa Beach. How much of a benefit was it to you to be able to pitch and play in the 8th grade?
Yeah, I talked to Matt Kellum. He was my coach at that time, and he still is at the school as the IB coordinator. And I talked to him all the time. By the time I got to my sophomore year, nothing really surprised me. The nerves are kind of, you know what you're getting. If
Right.
You're doing it as an 8th grader, you know what to expect. The earlier you can feel comfortable, the better you're going to play. And you know what's going to be handed at you.
Coach, with your experience having done this at the highest level that there is, how important is it for you, or was it for you when you joined the program several years ago, to be back at Cocoa Beach?
Means the world to me. Especially and this might make sense to some people, but Cocoa Beach has that weird stigma that you'll never make it from Cocoa Beach, or you can't do it, you'll never be seen. And it's not true. It's You know, it means a lot to come back and give back and help some of these kids that I see a lot of potential in, to especially wearing the home jersey that I wore when, you know, I was all their age.
And you know, Coach, including yourself, Cocoa Beach has produced some of the best athletes to ever come out of Brevard County. I mean, there is Kelly Slater, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so there you go, Coach.
And
You had
got Coach Gotti too. It can't be
Yeah.
DJ Gotti coming out of there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I believe me, I hear you on that. I've had that discussion with people, and generally after about 90 seconds to 2 minutes, they hush up. Coach, you know, listen, for you to have done this at the highest level like you have, that's important. You know, I never played any sport at a level beyond a collegiate level, so to speak, but Coach, to be able to tell these student athletes, ones that are serious about playing baseball in college and maybe beyond, how much do you feel your experience has in your coaching?
I mean, a ton. I mean, I will say, just because you played at the highest level doesn't mean you're going to make a great coach. Some people play the game and they're blessed and it's just kind of like, hey, go catch the ball and throw it home, and they get it, they do it. It took me a while to understand that I could actually be a good coach, and really settling in more when I got hurt and you sit back and watch the game and you're watching 162 of them, and you know, it's a lot of sacrifice. That's the one thing I tell these kids: you're gonna miss proms, you're gonna miss homecomings, you're gonna miss birthday parties. You're gonna sacrifice and bet on yourself. You know, you it's gonna stink. You're gonna have to, you know, miss the friend's birthday party and wake up early and go to the field on Saturdays. You're gonna have to, you know, put in that extra work. Baseball is a weird sport. Yeah. You know, you can take the most athletic person. Let's take LeBron James and get him to throw a baseball. It's hard. Yeah. Baseball is very unorthodox and it's hard. And you know, that's my biggest thing: is make sure you want it, and hoping and wishing and dreaming is great. I never want to deter anybody away from that, but nothing beats hard work.
You just ask Michael Jordan; he'll tell you how hard baseball is.
Exactly, it's a great example.
Yeah, yeah. Here with new Cocoa Beach Minutemen head baseball coach Brian Johnson, and Coach, you know, I've read your story, and without getting into detail, a lot of baseball is a mental aspect of it as well. And you also have some experience in being able to help student athletes with that too, which I think is extremely important, especially with a sport that's such a daily grind like baseball is. Talk about that.
Getting uncomfortable with failure. You fail 7 out of 10 times in this sport as a hitter, you're a Hall of Famer.
Right.
You know, you got to get comfortable with failure. Simple. You know, and it's easier said than done, don't get me wrong. But you know, when you put so much pressure on yourself to get a hit every time or strike everybody out, you got to realize, and kids, they're young, especially our group here. They are young. When you get them to realize, let's just have quality, simplified. Let's have quality at bats. Let's go pitch to pitch. Let's pitch one. Okay, let's move on to pitch two. Don't think about the whole game. Focus on the task at hand. And I think even for me, when I started to have the most success was when I kind of just started thinking smaller. You know, this game is hard. It's a game of failure. And you really, really got to understand that you're going to have 0 for 4 games. You're going to have 4 for 4 games. You're going to have games where your fastball feels great coming out of your hand and you're going to pound the strike zone. And you got to have games where you can't find it. But you got to find that middle ground now where when you don't have it, we got to fight. We got to find something. Find number 2. If you have one pitch working for you that day, you can compete.
Coach, we've put on the screen your high school stats, which was phenomenal. A great two-way player in high school, and of course the Alum Award winner is the best. For those of you youngins out there that watch college baseball now, We are talking to Brevard County's version of Jack Caglione. Okay, so let's just put that out there. For those of you that don't go 10 years back, Coach Johnson won the John Olerud Award for the best two-way player in college baseball at the University of Florida. So, Coach, I want to talk to you a little bit about your career because you've done it. You've done something only a small percentage of this world gets an opportunity to do, and that's play this game at a high level. Obviously, 5 years at Cocoa Beach, you went on to Florida. Talk a little bit about your experience in Florida and what that was like for you.
Yeah, well, I'll start by saying, Jack, I went up to Florida when they played South Carolina this year, and man, he is a specimen. He makes me feel small. Talking to Sully when I was watching batting practice, I was like, holy smokes. And then I called Las Gutierrez down in Miami. He's the pitching coach down in Miami now. And he was one of our coaches for the Red Sox. He's like, dude, he's a presence in the box. He's as big as the box. So Jack is doing it, man. He's doing it. But, yeah, when I went from high school to college, the biggest difference is it becomes more of a grind, obviously. You have to get your study hours in. You have morning workouts and then practice later. You have a full fall schedule where you're playing inter squads, you're working out, you're running. It's a grind and it's a commitment. And that's what I try to challenge all these boys when they say to me, Coach, I want to go play at the next level. Okay, then don't get frustrated with me when I hold you accountable what it takes to get to the next level.
Right.
Because it's a sacrifice, like I said earlier. It's a grind, and it's a mental grind. Baseball is as much mental as it is physical. And when you get to the next level, your win and loss record matters for a head coach. That's their salary. That puts food on their family's table.
Yep.
You do not succeed, they're going to help you and guide you and coach you, but they're also going to run to the next guy behind you and see if he can do it.
Yeah. What do you think about this Gator run? One of the last teams into the tournament. I know you're a big Gator guy, so obviously, look right out of the gate. This was a fun team to watch over the last couple of weeks.
Man, and I was texting Sully after the Super Regional game. They won that game versus Clemson, and we talked a little bit more at length the following day. And I just said, Sully, I was admirable. Somebody that's early in their coaching career and watching that was unbelievable, man. Up and down, a roller coaster all year. It's the last thing you want as a coach is to be like this all year.
Right.
And you had the talent, and it kind of, sometimes it just takes getting hot at the right time.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt. And they are certainly hot at the right time. And the other thing that I like, too, that they did was they really kept their composure in key moments. And I know a lot of people say, well, it's baseball, but that's hard to do. And I don't think people understand the intensity. I had a friend tell me one time that the greatest sports experience of his life, and this included a guy that had been to a Super Bowl, was attending the College World Series in Omaha. And he said there was nothing like it. And so I can only imagine what it's like for guys that play in that atmosphere, Coach.
I mean, it's undescribable. I tell anybody that is somewhat of a baseball fan, if you have an opportunity to go.
Yeah.
I remember my first game, I pitched, I was at Rosenblatt's last year, and then TD Ameritrade its first year. I started the first game for us versus South Carolina. I did okay. I didn't pitch great, but I remember looking around, and there wasn't an open seat in that place. It was the first night game that first day, I believe.
Wow.
It was jammed. And that's another aspect you go to when you go from playing high school to college. You got mom and dad and, maybe max 50 to 100 people. On a big game, maybe later in playoffs, you got a couple hundred, to where a midweek at Florida or LSU or Georgia or Miami, you got thousands.
Yep.
And then it becomes now everything's magnified. And baseball is the most humbling sport because when you're that pitcher or they see what's going on. It's not like you're trying to compare it to another sport's hard, but it's like a quarterback. If you're the pitcher, If you walk a guy, there ain't nobody else to blame.
No, and they hand you a ball on a Friday night. That's big time, man. That's big time baseball right there. That's for sure. Coach, you go, first round to the Red Sox. Describe that experience to be drafted like that?
I'm not gonna lie. It's one of the most. It was kind of the first, little goals you set for yourself. Getting a scholarship and going to college obviously was very rewarding for all the hard work you put in. And then I got, drafted by the Dodgers out of high school, and ended up staying at the University of Florida. But when that pick finally comes in, because you don't know when you're going to get drafted. Like, you have an idea, but so many crazy things happen, and some people fall, some people go up higher, some people reach. You never know. But when your name finally gets called, it's just it's the most gratifying. God, you almost want to get emotional. It's the most gratifying thing, and you can only live for it for a couple a day or two, because then you gotta get back to work, because that's
Right.
only that's the easy part. Getting, like everyone says, getting to the big leagues is the easy part. Staying in the big leagues is the hard part.
Yep.
Getting drafted is one thing, and then I just remember hugging my parents and just being so grateful for them.
Coach, and that's it right there. I mean, you went through every level, from A to all the way up to the show. And that's the thing I think that I admire the most about major leaguers is a lot of people, listen, as an Oriole fan, I'm watching a young man right now that was a first overall pick in Jackson Holiday struggle. And, I don't think people understand the toll that takes on you. And so congratulations on your accomplishments there. But I got to ask this question, Coach. So you make your major league debut, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I know it was a little rocky in the first couple
Yep.
of innings, obviously nerves, right? But you settled down in the bottom of the third. There's not a whole lot of pitchers out there that can say they struck out a side that included Jose Altuve, Marwin Gonzalez, and Carlos Carrera. Do you remember that feeling walking off the mound after striking those three out?
Yeah, it was. I mean, kind of just how you described it. In the beginning, you're out there, and I remember the first pitch I threw felt like I was throwing a paper ball at my buddy in the classroom. And then I got hit around a little bit, settled in, and then that inning, I remember walking off the mound and just taking the biggest breath and going in the dugout, clapping everyone's hand. John Farrell looked at me and he goes, "Okay, now let's go. Here we go. Let's go." And it was like that. Let's go. Now you got it. You got this. It was like the sense of you can do this.
What was, tell me about the Red Sox organization. What would you say about the Red Sox organization? Because, that was the only organization. Well, I mean, I think the Angels had purchased your contract. You spent a little time there. But what was the Red Sox organization like?
First class.
Yeah.
Everything. Even in the minor league staffs, given down to the meals, the accommodations they help you with, the front office. I mean, they literally make you feel like family. I got nothing but respect for that whole organization.
Now, I know that the 2018 Red Sox team, Coach, tell me about that season.
I mean, special. I
Yeah.
mean, it was one of those things where I knew I was out of options going into
Mm-hmm.
spring training. It was either make the team or and then get put on waivers, or and no one claims you, and you're back to AAA, going back to Pawtucket. When I hit spring training, you got a new coach, you got a new GM, you got Dombrowski there now and Cora, and I hit the ground running immediately. And I'll contribute a lot of that to Alex Cora. He did an unbelievable job in our spring training, where everyone just meshed, with such a wide variety of group. I was a younger guy in the sense of time, but age-wise wasn't too far off. But he just did a great job of making everyone feel comfortable. You knew your role. You knew what you had to do. And then, a couple guys got hurt in spring training. And I never will forget when I pitched versus the Yankees in Tampa. And as I came off the mound, he pulled me aside down in the tunnel, took me a couple feet back and said, "Congratulations, you made the team."
Wow.
It was just like, holy smokes. And then, the next start, they started lining me up to where I was going to make that fourth start in Miami versus the Marlins opening series.
Coach, I know as a younger guy and coming up, the postseason rosters are limited. I know you didn't get a chance to go into the postseason, but did you get a World Series ring?
Yes, sir, I did. I actually traveled. I was with the team the whole time.
Wow, that's
Um,
great.
yeah, I was there, and I was throwing because Stephen Wright ended up getting hurt, the knuckleballer.
Right.
So Heath Hembry got added onto the roster, and if another guy went down, it was kind of next man up. And I had to, I was throwing, I was facing hitters, I was throwing bullpens while I was there.
Great.
So I was there for the whole. It was only one other guy, pitcher, me and Bobby Pointer.
Okay.
Were the only two pitchers that weren't on the roster that traveled. And Steven he traveled as well, but he was hurt. But it was remarkable because you had to stay ready.
Yeah.
When the game went on, you knew you weren't getting in the game, so you could relax. But when you got to the field, you were treating it like I got a long toss, I got to throw a bullpen if I
Yeah.
need to, face hitters, and so it was exciting because you never know.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, you threw 100 innings that year. If you didn't get a ring, I'm making a call now.
No, I got it.
But so where is your ring? Where'd you put it?
I have it in a safe,
There you
and
go.
had to
Well,
got the insurance and the whole 9 yards.
well, Coach, one of these days I'm going to want to see that thing. So keep that in mind as well.
You let me know.
I appreciate that. Coach, I guess I want to ask you. You mentioned knuckleballer, Boston Red Sox. It brings up the fact that last year we lost Timmy Wakefield here, another Brevard County guy. I know he had retired before you got there, but did you get a chance to know Tim at all?
Yeah, actually, pretty well, man. It was I met him my first spring training, and obviously we made the connection of Brevard County, and
Right.
we knew a lot of the same people, and it was sad, obviously for many of reasons, and it was just so quick, and I saw him at the Holy Trinity game the year before, and I saw him. I had
Yeah.
reached out to him. I had reached out to him in between that, and then I went to Boston and saw him in August, the last August, or maybe the August before. And he's just, he was such a nice guy, and it was so
Yeah.
nice talking to him when I was because he was in Boston a lot, obviously with Nesson, but he was on the
Right.
field at spring training. He was always around, and he always gave good advice. He was
Yep.
always a person you could go to and be like, "Hey, Wake, what do you think here?" Like, because he sees the game from a different perspective in the booth. Hey, what do you think there? Like, could I have done? He was always in the locker room, him and Jerry Remy, and it was really really sad, and it was because I always enjoy talking to him.
Rim dog. I tell you, listen. Obviously that game you're referring to was the benefit game at Holy
Yeah.
Trinity. He actually did an inning with us broadcast. I got to know Tim through volleyball actually because of his daughter, and he was just a terrific guy. I mean, just a terrific, and a plethora of knowledge about all sports. I went to the College Hall of Fame, Football Hall of Fame with him, and the guy told me more about the College Football Hall of Fame than any tour guide could have.
And can
So.
hit. And can hit.
Yes, yes. Let me ask you this: when you got to the majors as a pitcher, did you miss hitting?
When I first left college and I started, I had a lot of boredom in the sense of being a pitcher only because in college it was go 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 go. It was you start practice. If I had a bullpen, it was bullpen, first base, ground balls, team defense, and then I'm getting my bullpen in, and then I'm running down to batting practice. It was I was always used to being on go, which I love, and then now you're a pitcher only. A lot
Right.
of just sitting around, and which took a little bit to get used to. And I missed hitting in the beginning, but then when you find different things to pay, it made me pay attention to the game more.
Yeah.
Watching, if a guy's tipping or, just talking to my pitching coach when I was young, Paul Abbott, and saying, "Hey, Abby, what do you think with that pitch throw call right there? What do you think?" And he goes, "Well, he could have done X, Y, and Z because he set him up with X, Y, or Z." And it was just you learned more of the game within the game. And I had some great coaches just coming up in the minors between, Carlos Fabulous, Paul Abbott, Bob Kipper, Kevin Bowles, a local guy, UL Washington. So, I mean, And then Kevin Walker. I mean, the list goes on and on. Rich Gedman. So you could
Yeah.
just sit there and talk to these guys because I was a starter for predominantly all my minor league career, and it was like you just sit and learn. And that's what I think I'm a better coach from just probably getting annoying and asking a lot of questions, but just asking.
You know, Coach, I think we're here. I'm getting lost in the conversation. I keep, we're talking to the new manager of the Cocoa Beach Minutemen, Brian Johnson, and Coach, as you look around Brevard County, we got a lot of great baseball players, and kids like Dylan Jordan, are going to have to be watching the MLB draft. We saw what Alex Sosa did last week. Rockledge has got a ton of seniors and a freshman over there. That's amazing. And the history of this county, guys such as yourself, and guys, Wakefield, guys that have come from this county and made it to the show. What do you think of the talent in this county?
You know, it's definitely very, very, very competitive. And, I didn't get to see all of the varsity games. So some of those games I missed, but I got, the games I did see, there was, Merritt Island has some guys, Rockledge's guys. I mean, just,
Yeah,
I wasn't at the Rockledge game, but just seeing video from some of those guys, holy smokes, they got a good team.
yeah, they do.
Astronaut, JJ always got a good team up at Astronaut.
Yeah,
It's just, list goes on and on. Vieira, I mean, it's pretty cool to see. And I mean, I talk to TJ Gotti every other day, if not every day. They just grind. They're competitive. I mean, everybody's
yep.
just competitive. It's awesome to see because that's the way you get better.
We have a lot of student athletes, guys like the aforementioned Dylan Jordan, who's going to be going to Florida State to pitch. We've got, of course, Sosa from Vieira last year. We've got Diamez Ross from O'Galley, who's a center fielder for the Seminoles.
I saw him play this year.
Yeah, he's something else. I mean, listen, we got a lot of young guys. But for a guy like a Dylan Jordan, who's getting ready to go to Florida State, and we've got other Division I commits getting ready to go, what's the biggest piece of advice you could give them right now as they leave high school to go check in at these universities?
Hard work, man. Don't get complacent. Don't get lazy. Have fun in college. I'm not telling anybody not to have fun. Enjoy your time. It's special. But hard work. Nothing beats hard work. You're ready to work because what you think is hard work now, it only gets harder in a good way, not in a bad way, in a good way. It gets more competitive. The guys you're talking about are one of one on their high school teams.
Right.
Now you're getting into a pool where everybody's very good.
Right.
So don't let up. Keep the foot on the gas and keep going and just keep your head down. Sometimes less is more. And just keep working hard. And I guess my biggest advice would be, don't try to be somebody else. Be yourself.
I like that. I love that. I had somebody else tell me that last week. She was actually a freshman. She told me the same exact thing. And coaches, we get set to wrap up here with you, and I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. So thank you for doing this, Coach. What do you want everybody to know about the future of Cocoa Beach Minutemen baseball?
Well, shoot, I'll circle back to what I led with. We're going to control the controllables. We're going to work hard. We're going to attack the game whether we're down by 10 or up by 10. We're going to play the game with respect. We're going to hustle, and we're going to just compete. That's where we're going to start. That's where we're going to, just keep doing what we've been trying to preach over the last couple of years, and we're ready to, make a name for ourselves.
Coach, I watched you play at Florida. I wish I could have seen you here or had the opportunity to broadcast you here when you were at Cocoa Beach. We didn't do that back then, and I wish we did because I'm pretty sure we probably would have broadcast you a dozen times with the stuff that you had. And I really congratulations and good luck to Cocoa Beach. Good luck to you, Coach, and thank you for taking the time to do this here this evening.
No, Alan, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me on here. I'm just, so fortunate to have this opportunity and to have you interview me, and it's special. I'm very, very excited, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do this because you probably got some better things you could be doing on a Thursday afternoon, late or midnight, and So I just appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this for me.
Absolutely not, man. Talking baseball with a guy that played in the show. Are you kidding me, Coach? There's nothing else I'd rather be doing. By the way, baseball is my absolute favorite sport. I love it. And so I appreciate this. So for head coach Brian Johnson, the new manager of the Cocoa Beach Minutemen, I'm Alan Slaughter-Zinski for the Brevard Sports Network. Have a great night, everybody.